Is it live right now? Good. Is it live right now? Yo, why, yes it is.
I heard that play through here.
Jed, you sound different. No, you actually do. No,
Post now.
you sound like a man, Jed.
I like a man.
I like
what? Thanks for the compliment.
Yeah. No problem.
Okay. Okay, I think we're good now. Okay, I'm switching to the podcast tab thing. Oh my. Okay. All right, we're live, I think. All right, people in the chat, please. How the stream is going so far? I'm getting reds and yellows or whatever on my side. Okay, ready to go. All right, guys. Welcome to TheBuzz, episode number 2. Today I have a Swordmaker. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
And I have his, I guess, chief of staff or DNV vice chairman, Patrick.
Hi, Jed.
Hello. And Washington Post chief administration officer, whatever, Austin Miller. Today we're just gonna be interviewing Sword for a little bit, and yeah, are you all right?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
All right, just a little bit. I do have a cough, so if you hear me cough, please do not leave the stream and tell me a loser. Okay, that'd be nice. Alright. We have 20 preset questions for Sword, and after you'll be able to ask questions by the hashtag #AskSpeakerSword. Alright, yeah, make a hashtag for everyone. Alright, so question number 1: what favorite part about being speaker?
Ooh, I think I probably enjoyed serving as speaker for a few different reasons. Well, first of all, obviously, I like to be able to help the representatives and build their legislative experience and develop their abilities, in a sense, as they progress throughout the House and in their future careers. However, I think my favorite part would probably be getting to listen to the different opinions from the American people during our open microphone sessions. Those are the most rewarding parts, and I think they're very valuable.
If I could add in one thing I actually love that Sword does is I didn't know. I've been in a variety of political positions, and I've never seen like a leader of a chamber do this. And Sword is whenever there's a new representative who's never been in Congress before, he writes up a little guide for them and shows them how to present bills, and it is actually very cool from an objective perspective.
Yeah, we have our representative introduction that I send out to all the new representatives. It pretty much is
I got that when I on my day. Oh my.
yeah. So you probably got that as well. But pretty much what it entails is it's a document that I wrote up myself. Pretty much just gives the 101 on how to present legislation, as well as presents the House congressional calendar, so people can stay up to date on the events that are coming up, so nobody's ever behind. So yeah, we have that.
Good. All right, what are your current thoughts on the newly elected congressman from, I believe, Class 2?
Well, in regards to the House, obviously I look forward to working with all of the elected members that are new in Congress. I'm actually quite proud of the gains that the Democrats have made, and I really do look forward to working with all of them and the newly elected representatives as well, and senators. On that note, I think it's always nice to have opposing views in Congress and getting a larger voice in the legislative process along with that as well. It really does ensure, in a sense, that whatever goes on in Congress or whatever we do is sort of scrutinized to the point where compromise can be reached at an easier level.
Okay.
Jet
Yeah,
air
give me a second. Yeah, sorry, I'm in. Yes,
in the middle of an intense battle.
yes, in the middle of an intense battle.
No worries.
What are your current thoughts on the allegation Calvin are attempting to do a coup in the House with Ozyman? I know this has been very controversial, and you are the speaker, so we really on this.
Well, to be quite honest with you, my focus at the moment is really sort of on passing legislation that I'm working on through the House and keeping it active. Uh, if other representatives want to focus on gaining power in the House or causing commotion at that, then feel free to do so. But I, along with the other members of my caucus, we all know our jobs and what's entailed for us to do, and we plan on fulfilling it to the best extent that we can. So that's our priority right now. We're not really focused on any sort of other commotion caused by any other representatives, and we're going to move forward from there.
But how can you move forward from all of that when you're having two vetted, kind of not idealistic, what's the very prominent lives that are making a big fuss? How can you do anything when you're having to deal with these scandals? And in more detail, what is your opinion on it? What do you think, in your opinion, happened? And you know, something like that.
Well, Jed, if I'm completely honest with you, Calvin hasn't even, if we're talking about the allegations where people have switched parties over to the plutocratic party or anything of the sorts, they've switched from the GOP. And to be quite honest with you, that's their loss. I think doing that in a sense is a little bit vindictive. But like I said, I'm not going to focus on that because it really just was a sort of wrinkle in time there. There's much bigger things we could be focusing on, and I think you know that as well. I'd rather get comprehensive legislation passed than have to worry about silly scandals all the time, because the House in the past hasn't dwelled on scandals, and we're not going to start doing it now. And that's just a matter of fact. It's not going to happen under my leadership as Speaker, and I can certainly assure you that.
Now I don't know why, but I'm calling this a coup in a way. But you want to move forward. What steps are you taking to move forward? What steps are you doing to resecure the House in a way to make sure that one, these things, and two, to punish fix the problems that happen now.
Well, Jed, I'm not going to be punishing freedom of expression. And most importantly, I may not agree with their actions upon switching parties, but I really do want to work with everyone when the time comes. And I think this is a perfect time to begin, creating that comprehensive legislation that I keep bringing up and working on it in bipartisan manners. We could be doing this instead of spending all of our time focusing on, like I said, that wrinkle in time. We just need to move on from this point. I get that some people are hurting and think that maybe they were backstabbed. But to be quite honest with you, it's really not worth dwelling on it. It's really, really not. There's so many more important things that we could be doing right now.
For some reason, I do like, because it is very important that I and the viewers get of what the leadership in both chambers of Congress and in the administration think about the current events. So I'm sorry if next couple of questions are competitive or something that you don't really want to answer. I just feel that it's needed to be addressed. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine, of course. I mean, do what you gotta do.
Yeah, what are your current thoughts about the allegations that Representative Calvin admitted to killing the president on an alt in Las Vegas? In with that, a follow up would be: are you considering expelling him for those actions? It is a crime. It's a felony, and it's usually Secret Service. But what is your opinion, and are you? What is the next step? You know.
Well, really, I've heard conflicting arguments regarding the allegations of Calvin. Um,
Hmm.
but I really would like to see him get a sort of fair day in court and really be judged by a jury of his fellow Americans. But what I have heard so far is troubling, and if what is being said by him is true, he definitely should own up to his mistakes, and that's where I'll leave that.
But don't you think it comes at a point where he does so many mistakes, he does so many bad things, that he needs to be punished for it? Is there comes a time for those type of things, or
I
Well,
mean,
are you?
the question you asked me was regards into the allegations of Calvin, Representative Calvin, killing President Sudden Rush. So I did respond to that. In regards to his piled up allegations, I don't think they're really relevant to the question. Like I said, we're dealing with one situation at hand.
Mhm.
You did ask a follow up, though, correct?
Yes, yes. Is he being expelled, or is it any? Is the I believe I created the House Expulsions Committee. Is that still alive?
Yes. Yes, it
Oh,
is still live.
is the House Expulsion Committee? Are they considering expelling him?
Well, at the moment, I'm not really aware of any expulsions for Representative Calvin. Uh, I
Would
have heard rumblings of such occurring, but Ozyman's expulsion has already actually passed the committee and is actually in process of being voted on by the entire House. So that's what the House Expulsion Committee has dealt with recently. But like I said, at the moment, I'm sort of not really aware of any expulsions that may have come up for Representative Calvin. The House Expulsions Committee hasn't been provided with any.
Mhm. Next question. Um, I don't know why, but just Calvin has been really in the news lately. I'm sorry, but he is executive blacklisted. Um, do you have any opinions on that?
Well, in regards to the executive blacklist, I've said in the past several times that the executive branch blacklist system is a tad bit arbitrary, actually, and in my opinion, it places too much power in the hands of so few people. Um, if there is someone who should not work in the executive branch, however, and our national security experts believe that, he or she would do harm um, in such a rule, then they shouldn't really be employed in the executive branch, and that's my belief on that. So,
So you believe it's currently a bit too harsh, and there's no like appeals process or anything like that, but you feel that it's necessary.
well, like I said it's a bit arbitrary. My belief is that so few people have too much power, in a sense, for the executive branch blacklist system that we have in place currently. Um, and, you know, like I said, if there is an individual that, probably isn't fit to be working in the executive branch, then we should be consulting our national security experts, and we should see what they have to say about it. And I would trust their judgment.
We have to. I know I have some pre-made questions, but there's some people that are most for a question. They ask, hashtag Ask Speaker Sword. What do you think of Fruits being the GOP nominee and J1212 being his deputy mayor candidate for Las Vegas mayorship or whatever?
I actually only heard about this the other day, but all I have to say about that is that the DNC is working very hard alongside of Technozo, and we're going to do our best to get Technozo elected as mayor. That's really at the top of our list right now. And I've been collaborating with other DNC officials on different ways that we could make that happen. And I think Americans have every reason to hope and believe that the next mayor of Las Vegas is going to be a Democrat, and that person is going to be Technozo.
Technozo is, personally, I think he's probably extremely worthy of being mayor. He has done so much for the NUSA community. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's not really a secret as to why we picked Technozo and why we even placed our trust in him. He has so much experience under his belt, and it's really been a pleasure in the past few days being able to collaborate with him, being able to hear out his ideas and work with other members of the DNC to make, his dream, at least, of becoming the Las Vegas mayor a sort of reality. So it's been really exciting for a lot of us, and we're definitely coming up with some comprehensive plans in regards to that to definitely get him elected.
All right, next question. As speaker, I'm gonna make sure I get this right. As speaker, do you feel you have got involved with the American people?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you could? I asked this question kind of to Tim, so I want you to.
I think. Yeah, I think absolutely. As Patrick mentioned a little bit before, I think I've definitely been involved with the American people. Whether it's out on the streets in Las Vegas or even in the past in Washington, D.C., I've always tried to connect with the American people. And I've also hosted several open microphone sessions where I do take questions from fellow Americans who are actually wondering about what work we do in the House. I really do enjoy being able to speak with the American people in a sort of face-to-face manner and address their concerns in that sense. I'm always kind of used to Twitter to inform everyone on what's happening in the House or what's upcoming in the House, and I've made addressing the concerns of the various American people through a position-based initiatives, I guess you could say, which is a high priority of mine.
Now, these aren't you talking?
Well, because a lot of the stuff that Sword does, I usually assist him with. But if it's a question directly to Sword, I'll let him handle it. But yeah, I mean,
most of these questions are.
As somebody who does a lot of Sword stuff behind the I think it's very interesting because when I, as you know, resigned from the Supreme Court, I went to work for Sword, and I want somebody who I work with, that they took the conservative to heart, and I work people of I'm in my position, people's Twitter accounts and their goes dormant until the re-election campaign. And one thing Sword has made a priority is he's not.
Is he lagging for anyone else?
Patrick, you are cutting out a bit.
Yeah, Patrick, you're cutting out a lot.
Sorry, hold on.
You're gonna have to get to a better Wi-Fi area. We'll get back to you, Patrick.
Yeah, we'll ignore you for a second. Sorry. Next question. What are you planning? What do you plan on doing about the crumb?
Well, in regards to the judicial system, I have actually been in talks with a few different representatives over the last few weeks. I'm pretty sure.
Hi.
Hello. I'm
Sorry
just
about
answering a question about the judicial system. Like I said, I've been in talks with a few different representatives over the last few weeks in sort of an effort to create legislation to bring an overhaul.
Rip Sword? What?
Hey, I'll
Speak
pick up
just cracked.
that. I'll pick up that one. Apparently the speaker's office is not very good at staying connected to Skype calls.
I just got disconnected. I didn't even hang up.
Yeah, I did too, but
Everyone
I
got
think that
disconnected.
as somebody who was a Supreme Court justice, when I first started working for Sword, I told them that I wanted to be a priority to work on the judicial system, but I think that it is a two-way street. And I think that the administration has highlighted some of the concerns in the judicial branch, and I think both of us have been relatively happy with some of their appointments in the Justice Department. I'm sorry, in the judicial branch as a whole, like Samuel King, the Supreme Court, and whatnot, and some of the federal judge nominations. But it is a two-way street, and that, in my opinion, the judicial branch and their activity is really dependent on the Justice Department and their activity as well. Because if there's no functioning prosecuting body, the judicial branch goes inactive, and that's what we're seeing right now. Is over the course of the second term, since Colio has resigned, we've seen a very inactive Justice Department as a whole, and the president appointed a very experienced Attorney General, but we have yet to see much substance come out of that tenure yet.
Do you believe that he needs a fresh face? Because Snappets have been Attorney General before.
Well,
she's pretty, awesome. But do you think she's paper? But do you think she's capable by executing it?
Yeah, let's not call him she, but Synaptic. I think my opinion on that. Not to make it about me. This is about Sword and his work, but I think my opinion, and Sword has issued the same concerns regarding this, that I was nominated for Attorney General almost 2 months ago now, and shortly after that, Synaptic was kind of nominated, but his nomination stalled for like 2 to 3 weeks, and then he was nominated, and then he got it confirmed a few weeks later, and there hasn't been much going on. From what I understand, he is working behind the scenes. When I've talked to the president or Synaptic directly, it's what I've been told, but I think my opinion on that's pretty clear that Synaptic is a very well-versed legal mind. He's a very smart individual, and I know he's led the DOJ in the past very well, but it was the opinion of most people in the executive branch that it needed a fresh face. And when Synaptic resigned from the Supreme Court, the general opinion was the DOJ is inactive, let's bring in new leadership, and then all we did was bring in the second in charge. So that doesn't really shake things up. The point was to shake things up, bring somebody in with experience, but doesn't have the same work habits as the current DOJ officials. And
they were, I believe I know they wanted you, but they were really considering Nordfuzz. His name is Edward Renzi or something like that.
Well, he from what I understand, he was. I know North very well. I've worked with him, and he's a very smart individual. From what I understand, he really wasn't under serious consideration. But because it stemmed from the president asking to be AG second term, and that had been the plan for like 2 or so months. But that is in the past, and now, as with Sword as Speaker, I think that I want to help him work with the administration to, reinvigorate the judicial system and also help the DOJ, because it is that two-way street. You can't just fix one, and this requires cooperation on the part of the administration and Congress. And we'd love to do that, because this is me speaking for myself, not for the speaker, but there's a lot of rhetoric from the executive branch. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Sutton. I've worked for him, and I think I voted for him, and I'd do it again. But there, and not necessarily coming from him, but there's a lot of rhetoric surrounding the justice system from people who are currently in power but are not doing anything about it. So the people who are in the administration, who are taking their time to just spout the concerns of the DOJ, should really do something about it, because they have the power to do so. But I haven't seen that yet. And if they want help doing that, we're here.
As I am a current assistant United States attorney, and I have taken over 9 cases since I got rehired probably a month ago, and I have succeeded in all of them. Sadly, me and Calvin are the only active prosecutors at this time. But it is really me and Calvin. Now that Calvin has a termination order on him, and him just being just totally pretty stupid or something once in a while, it's gonna just be me left, and I can't really do much because like all the justices and judges. So there really needs to be something done about prosecutors, and the
Oh,
attorney general.
definitely.
The attorney general has attempted to hire, I think, 11 new prosecutors, but has failed to release an active sheet of who has won,
That
who
shocks
has
me.
lost. Um, so I don't know the attorney general's mind. I don't know what she. I don't know. I feel like if I say she, then I'm fine. But if I say he, then I'm just gonna get like an injunction on me or something because she legally changed her name in Roblox to Bonnie Betty technically. So so I hope I don't like get sued by the Synaptics right now.
I just
By
stick with
saying
he, but if it offends Synaptic, he can let me know directly, and I can change my pronoun that I use.
oh no, Calvin just tweeted to me saying, "Thank God Adred Bartlett isn't in Congress. We in Congress believe in democracy and political freedom." Okay, let's see this. So far since being in Congress, I've passed one bill, one more than most. Jed Bartlett claims is a drama, a mistake. When did I ever say that?
The problem with the whole, and I don't want to steal this show. I haven't heard. Ask next question, Sword. But like the thing is that with this whole Calvin, Tim issue, and Ozzy and everything, the problem is that everybody, in my personal opinion, this is just me coming from me, Patrick, not anybody else. I think everybody's at fault in this scenario because everybody talks about bipartisanship. You hear that word thrown around like crazy, and not a single person practices it. And it's because people don't feel like they need to. But now the Senate is it's like razor thin majority for Democrats, isn't it? So I mean, it's going to be very difficult to pass nominations or legislation without being bipartisan. So I'm curious to see how some do that. And we can all, I think most of us in this call at times disagree with the plutocrats and sometimes what they stand for. But I'm of the opinion that I think that we should be addressing individuals specifically, not generalizing the entire party. And there are some individuals in the Plutocratic Party that I know personally, are not bad people, like some make them out to be.
Patrick, can I cut you out for a
Sure.
second? Emperor J, the White House Chief of Staff, just made the biggest roast to Calvin. I'm literally laughing so hard right now. He
Okay.
just so you know that tweet he sent me about me not being in Congress. He said instead we have you, a congressman who literally tried to assassinate the president. And I don't know if you.
That's why they pay Emperor J the big bucks. He's a smart guy.
All right, we'll move on to Sword now. Sword. I'm just gonna like skip through a few questions because we gotta hurry this up a bit. What is your opinion about the attempted impeachment of Tim Geithner? Are you okay with the 1-3-0 outcome of the impeachment in consideration?
Well, I think the vice president has been the sort of epicenter of many scandals because of his rather unconventional way of doing his job, which gets people sort of upset. How he chooses to handle his job, though, is really not for me to comment on. But I most certainly won't be involving myself in the impeachment allegations in the committee stage. But I will, should the impeachment vote reach the House, then I will make an official comment on that. But as of now, that's where I stand.
It has failed the House. That's what I'm saying. Are you it's already, by the way, just so you do know.
Yes, it has.
It has failed 1A to 3 A's.
And
Okay.
I think I want to just clarify on an earlier statement that, Tim has reached out to Sword many times in terms of working with him, and we don't have anything against him. So when that scandal comment's made, it's not necessarily meant as a bad thing, but it's common knowledge that the way that he does things is a little bit different. Now, that's a bad thing. He's a little bit different, and it makes some people angry. Some people say that if you don't have enemies, you're not doing something right. But so, I mean, that's just how he does things, and it makes some people angry. And I almost sometimes admire the fact that he's able to stand up to some people so strongly, where some others are not. But it does ruffle the feathers of many representatives, i.e. Ozzy and Calvin at the current moment.
Sword. Let's be blunt. Are you still considering a run for president?
Well, I mean, to be quite honest with you, as the vice president said just a few weeks ago, it's really far too early to be launching bids for the presidency. But
he launched his own bid.
Well, I mean, listen.
Oh,
I'm keeping all of.
Are you trying to say he contradicted himself? Hold on a second.
I've posted that he has contradicted himself, but as you, oh my.
I really am keeping all of my options.
Hold
open,
up.
though.
The Secretary of Defense just passed 700.
Ooh.
Thank goodness.
Congratulations. Ballistics is a good
Well,
choice.
congratulations to the Secretary of Defense. But
Election
anyway.
9.
Good. So I'm going to answer the question really quick. But really, I have appreciated the support of everyone thus far in encouraging me to run when it comes to this question. But at this stage, really, I'm just focused on my job as Speaker of the House. There's way too much to get done there that I'd still like to get done, and so many things that I know so many other people want to get done too, and I desperately want to be a part of that. And I think there's so much to improve on with the House, so I'm really, really focused in that aspect. I'm not really looking into.
So you're not even considering a run? Because you have said that you are considering. The primary would be a challenge with Tim.
Well, no. I did say that I am keeping my options open, but that's not my primary concern right now. There's other things that need to get done, and I'd rather have my full attention be on those things. I don't want to have to worry about looking into a potential run right now. Is what I'm saying.
All right. If you do decide not to run, who will you be voting for president?
Well, obviously, like I said, I'm not sure what I'll be doing this winter. I am definitely keeping my eyes open, though, and I am watching the current field of candidates and what they're saying and their rhetoric. But so far, I haven't really been sold on any single candidate. But like I said, I am keeping my mind open.
If you do not decide to run and Tim is declared then will you support him?
I think that's looking a little bit too far into the future. We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that when the time comes.
It's less than 2 months. In 2 months, a lot of things happen, but 2 months is not that far off. Sadly, it happens around November, I believe. Primaries. I know the GOP. Like
yeah, I mean, but like I said to you, I'm still keeping my options open at the moment, and you can tell that my answer is a little bit arbitrary because I really don't know what my plans are for this upcoming winter, and the question was quite circumstantial. If I'm not running, blah blah blah.
5 months is a long time. Like
it is a long time, and it's I don't know. In a sense, I don't want to say concerning, but it's a bit odd to me sometimes how far into the future people are looking. Because there's so many unpredictable things that could come, and I'm really not one to sort of look over the job that I have to do now to worry about something that's going to come in 5 months if I do decide to consider any sort of run or whatever I may be doing in the winter. So that's really just my honest opinion at this point.
We gotta like wrap it up a bit, but guess who just joined the stream? Or who is watching the stream? Madam Attorney General just came in.
Loretta Lynch is Colio.
Oh, isn't
Oh.
he? Oh my! I thought that was freaking synaptics. Oh my.
Nope.
Okay.
That would be Colio.
Let's finish up the rest of these questions. Um. What is your opinion on the recent announcement that Divinus Queen, the current majority leader next term? Who are you and the Democrats considering as a replacement to Divinus?
Oh, DVS. I'm actually really sad to hear that DVS will not be on my team of leadership for the next term. She honestly, though, has been such a great addition to the House, and I'm honestly going to miss her so much. As to her replacement, I'll leave that up to her. But Devious and I will be discussing who her replacement will be in the days to come.
Will it be after Orb's House election, which is September 27th?
Well, Devious has stated that she's not going to step down. She's just not going to seek re-election. Which I think honestly is sort of a hit in the gut for people in the House who have been fortunate enough to, see her work as majority leader, and really been fortunate enough, like I have, to be able to work with her and be able to collaborate with her on different legislation and projects. Because honestly, like when I say she was probably one of the best majority leaders we've had, she really has been one of them from the time that I've been in the House. Even though she's been one of the two that I've experienced, I have no doubts that she definitely has done her job quite well as a majority leader.
That's great to hear. I think we're gonna have one or two more questions because I actually have to head out. 1 second.
That's good. I was gonna try and join Jed's game, but he doesn't have following on.
So I had a little bit to do one more question. What is your what will you be doing to make sure the Democrats continue to succeed in elections, House and Senate? And what is your opinion on the recent loss for Democrats in the Senate election? What do you think was done?
Very important topics.
Yes, that is actually a very important topic, and I'm quite glad you brought that up. Obviously, as we know, the recent Senate election was not the best for the Democrats. We've had a wide variety of capable Democrats who did not win this election, sadly. In the future, though, the committee and myself will definitely spend time to find a finite of definitely qualified candidates to ensure that the Democrats that are running in the election will not have to split votes with other individuals or other Democrats.
Which, Jed, you and I know too well.
But I really have already been in talks with members of the DNC regarding future strategizing for elections and what we plan to do in the upcoming elections. And we have made some groundbreaking progress on that, and we're definitely working on different initiatives within the DNC to progress ourselves even further and really create that sort of democratic image that everybody wants to see. Because in the past, the Democrats have been the party of the people, and we need to continue being that party. And that's exactly what we're going to do with myself as chairperson and Patrick as vice chairperson. And we intend to fulfill our positions and carry out our duties as best as we can.
Can I add one more thing on the end, with just before you have to go, Jed? I think that one thing I've been working on the DNC is creating more coherent election strategy, and I think that one of the things that made national elections in real life so much more interesting is creating a uniform party platform that kind of like, Democrats run on this. Think about like, Newt Gingrich's contract with America in the 90s. Like, I really wanted to focus on getting Democrats together and picking 1 to 3 issues that are our issues, and we focus
So a
on.
manifesto?
Well, kind of manifesto-ish, but really it's more. We've been in power for a long time, and I think that it's important that we have something to show for that. I think we do have something to show for that, especially in the House. And we want to show that and also differentiate with the different candidates. So I think that if there are 12 spots open in an election, we should find 12 candidates and push them pretty hard. Because the issue is that in the last Senate election, for example, we had a lot of Senate candidates, more than there were spots in the Senate. And as a result, the Democratic vote was split over the course of like 10 candidates or whatever it was. And we had 2 Republicans, like 4 plutocrats, and an independent get elected. So in the future, we're working to fix this by bringing the party together a little bit and finding very strong candidates, and we would help them behind the scenes create a more coherent strategy that makes it easier for them to win and campaign on their own.
I'm going to interrupt you because I'm going to interrupt you for a second.
That's sure. That was it.
But I do have a follow-up. About how there's a fully established RNC in the GOP. Is the DNC trying to do anything about it? It's trying to create like a full functioning committee that is elected and that functions as a legislative body of the party.
Well, I mean,
Are you
I guess I'll answer that question, and then Patrick can give a follow up because he's vice chairperson. But obviously, I was democratically elected by the body of the Registered Democrats, which I'm very fortunate to be serving as chairperson of the Democratic Party, and I do appreciate their trust that they've been placed in me, and I don't take it lightly. But we are going to try to extend the boundaries of democracy as far as we can, and spread them as wide as we can. I think with that as well, we've had individuals that have been placed on the committee who have been incredibly helpful in regards to insight, in regards to projects that we're doing, in regards to campaign strategizing in different meetings and in different, just short talks to, bring each other up to speed in regards to all of those things. So, like I said prior to, we're going to continue to be, the party of democracy, and we're going to try to, make our image in a sense that really represents the American people and what they're looking for when they cast their vote for their elected officials. I guess Patrick can follow up with his.
We have to wrap up. Thank you everyone for watching. The video once this finishes, the video is available for playback. So if you missed anything, you can go ahead and play back. It will be uploaded. It will be posted on Washington Post, Twitter. Oh my god, I'm having like a brain fart. I want to go to sleep already. But well, I'm not gonna stay for too long. But please, if you haven't already, please follow Washington Post at Washington Post NUSA for the latest updates and all the current news. Thank you, Speaker Sword, for
no problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Patrick. I know
Thank you,
Austin. I know Austin hasn't talked much today, but Austin has been here.
Hi. Hi.
And he has been helpful. He has been translating. He has been giving me all the important hashtag Ask Sword questions. If you do have any more questions for Sword and you want him to answer it, just tweet at him hashtag Ask Speaker Sword.
Absolutely.
Right.
Any questions can be sent my way.
You know how to use that, right?
How to use a hashtag? Jeb, I'm not new to social media. I know how to use a hashtag.
Okay.
Definitely.
Oh my god, please don't die.
Don't follow the path of Hillary. Come on.
Yeah, I know, really. You got pneumonia?
Pneumonia, cancer, whatever you have.
I can't be president, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess you can't now. You're disqualified. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for having me, Jed. I'm sure Patrick is equally as appreciative as I am. I had a really fun time answering these questions, and any questions can definitely be sent my way on Twitter, private message, whatever, Skype, any way you want to contact me.
Smoke signal, carrier pigeon, whatever works.
Exactly.
Hand signals.
Hand signals we take.
Sign language, yes.
Yeah, or just making sure you stir up some trouble with Zord, and they would definitely
Right.
help
Oh.
you. All right.
Right.